Hello and welcome back to Quiet Corners. We're glad to have you join us for another insightful conversation. Here at Quiet Corners, we explore the differences in social connection and how it affects our well-being. I'm Cazzy,
I'm Jana.
And I'm Katt.
your hosts for this episode.
This is episode 3, and we will be tackling an important topic: the impact of social isolation on mental health. Social isolation is something that many of us have not really heard of or experienced in the Philippines, but it could also have a profound effect on our mental and emotional well-being.
After we talked about social isolation during the pandemic and in the digital age, Jana, what do we mean again by social isolation? It is more than just being alone, right? How does it differ from loneliness and why is that difference important? Because for me, when we talk about social isolation, it's not just about feeling lonely, it's more about the lack of connection. Think of it like how many people do you actually interact with regularly? Do you have friends you can call, see, or even just chat online? What are your thoughts?
Well, it's also quite the same with your idea that social isolation is more about the disconnection or like the lack of social connection with other people. Maybe because it could be like because of the pandemic, especially since everybody was just like locked at their homes and not much really people that engage in contacting people or like socialize with other people out of their comfort zones. And loneliness is also one of the symptoms of social isolation. For me, loneliness is more about like the emotional state, like the physical state of being alone, like having no one to talk to or have someone to hear you out.
I feel like social isolation did like explode in the pandemic. Because we were locked away in our homes, and it's not like we wanted it, and I feel like we were very restricted, especially because a lot of people couldn't really meet. They couldn't really, I mean, they can talk to each other, but it's not very personal. It's not face to face. It's a lot more personal when it's face to face because you can actually see the person you're talking to, and the conversations you're having actually has meaning. So when you're talking to someone face to face, like in video calls or audio calls, kind of feels like the meaning, it's not really there. There's no spark in those conversations.
Are we talking about love here?
No. But like in general, there's a big difference in talking face to face versus online.
Yeah, like you can be surrounded by people, but then there's still that feeling of being disconnected or alone. So I think it could also take a toll on our emotional state and overall well-being. And I think like the gap in it is like very big too, because social isolation can lead to loneliness, but loneliness doesn't really stem from social isolation, which I think people always get confused of if you think about it. Because if you ask anyone, they would think that social isolation and loneliness is like one same thing, but it's really not. Because like even if you have people around you, like you have a lot of friends, you have great harmony with other people, with working with other people, but you would also like feel lonely in a crowd. So
Yeah, I can definitely like see what you mean. Like when you're in a crowd and you're not able to talk to other people, it's like you're scared of talking to them and you're afraid of what they think about you. That's why, like for me, in a crowd, if I had to talk to someone, I feel like I always overthink on what I need to do. Like I need to approach them, but how do I approach them? Or if I talk to someone, I need to sound in a certain way, or I need to be the one that continues the conversation. But in reality, I feel like that it's just a very simple process that we just overthink about a lot because of our fears.
yeah, it's basically one of the insecurity that also leads to like social isolation.
I think I do experience social isolation like until now. Now that I'm growing up and being more independent. Like when I have to commute alone, or like when I'm here in school alone before class, it's like I feel lonely, something like that.
Can you describe like how do you feel that loneliness?
It takes like long for me to go here, like I think 30 minutes to 1 hour. Then I'm like alone. So like there's like I have thoughts in my head, and then the people around me, it like
You might
I
feel
feel
that
like
they're judging you.
yeah, and it's like bothering me.
A lot of people can agree with you because that's what a lot of people also think about. Especially it's very prevalent in social media where people share like, oh man, I need to change on what I need to look like or the way I need to act so that people can like me or approach me. But in reality, it's very simple. Especially when like you said you were commuting, right? In reality, nobody really like cares because they have their own individual lives and they don't really notice the small things that you see in yourself. So I feel like the most effective way to, I guess, wean off of that mindset is to just focus on yourself and your objectives.
Yeah. And also like one of the symptoms or like impact of social isolation is like having anxiety or like being depressed all the time. It's like it makes you like isolate from the real world, which could like lead to a more severe condition. It could lead to like medical conditions that you will later on experience when you grow up. Yeah, and those who experience like anxiety or depression are more likely to also isolate themselves. Like they don't really reach out to people when they really need help, and they tend to like cope it and keep it to themselves. And yeah, I also experienced the same thing that parang I could handle it my own. I think in my mind like I could handle it, but in reality I know that I would be struggling a lot, especially in times of parang I am not really that knowledgeable of what I'm doing and I'm still growing up. So I feel like if you ever like feel isolated or like you just don't know what to do, it's better to like reach out to those you trust or anyone who you think can help you a lot. Because I think people like avoid reaching out to others.
But like, why do you think that people are scared to reach out to other people? Like, are they scared of being judged? Like,
Yeah.
just because they don't know something that's like easy to do. Like, for example, you're new to the LRT. Like, where do you buy a beep card or where do you buy a card?
I search online. Google. Google
yeah.
is my.
I mean, yeah, but there's a worst case scenario. But like, for some reason, we always think of it when we're about to ask someone like question. The worst, like for example, you know those relationships where like you're about to ask someone if they like you, and then like the worst you can say is no, right? And like there's
Yeah.
something way worse.
Yeah.
But like, does that really actually happen, or is it something people just make up because of their overthinking and stuff?
It can happen, and it could also be like overthinking, because like you don't really know the intention of the other person unless you ask him or her like that.
But I think it's really like part of the process.
Yeah,
Like you really have to
open up. Yeah.
open up and like reach out. It's like it can be like the start also of like getting out of social isolation.
Yeah, that's why like building social connections are really important, especially because revolving around connecting with people.
But it's really hard to connect with people, especially when you're already in that bubble of yours.
Yeah.
So how do you think? What do you think is the best like first step of taking out that bubble?
I think it's connecting with people in your circle now. For me, like understanding how people would also think. Maybe with your friends or close friends first, your families.
Yeah.
They could also help you like in getting out of this isolated bubble of yours.
But like hypothetically, like what if you have no friends?
I
Your
think,
families.
I think you should try to develop your confidence, because you'll really feel isolated if you don't try and have the confidence to talk to other people.
It could always start by sending a text lang, even a small text or just a quick phone call. It could always help you to like develop more of connecting with people, and small goals for interactions lang. Everything starts with something small,
Yeah.
and I think that's really important if you want to like really make it out there.
I guess I
in the
can
social
relate
world.
with that because like I really suffered with social isolation a lot before, and especially in the pandemic when I was like starting to be a little bit more social, like when I started to like go like do my hobbies more, I was kind of like forced to talk to people, and for me it was really hard to do that because I didn't even know like the proper greetings, and especially like bro, I couldn't even say hi properly. And that's really bad. So like it makes me overthink a lot, and kind of like what if they laugh at me like when I say something like that,
Yeah.
or like I play badminton, so like what if they laugh at me while I do this certain thing, right?
Actually, I'm really bad at badminton.
It's okay. I don't judge most of the time.
we listen and we don't judge.
Yeah.
But like, I keep laughing at myself when like I point like my own mistakes out and I try to make the mood. I think it's really something that could also connect with people, like just joining in, like joking about yourself. But then not really that much, okay. That's insecurity, nah. Bye.
Yeah.
So
Cazzy, what do you think?
Yes.
what do you mean? Yeah?
I think the pandemic really I think it was the start of where a lot of people started to feel like isolated, which is why it went on to affecting your mental health and stuff like that. I didn't really experience it because for me, I'm really like,
You're just a
yes,
cheerful
I'm
girl.
a cheerful person
Yeah.
kasi. So like, even before, I was really social with people and I was able to get along somehow with people.
Mhm.
So it's just now, like I mentioned a while ago, where like when I commute or stuff like that, I would feel lonely. Cause ever since I was a kid, I was like, I had my parents with me, but then they told me that I really need to try to
Be independent.
be independent.
and
So that was the start of it.
Yeah, it's also really important to be independent because like you are growing up
Yeah.
into an adult na soon, and it's not really like every time that you have someone to rely on.
Yeah.
And I feel like learning to be independent also like impacts on our mental health, especially because you're not really a social person.
Yeah.
And I feel like I quite felt that nung pandemic. Like I didn't really like know that I was kind of lonely or stuff because I was just in my own place. Like I was playing games, I was watching like TikTok and stuff, and then now that we're talking about this topic, I just realized that I was also alone during the pandemic.
Yeah.
It just comes unconsciously to me that I have been.
I think that's how we
That
all
face.
felt.
Yeah, it
We
just
just didn't realize it.
you just get that realization later on in life. Like while you're just doing something you enjoy, suddenly like, oh crap, I'm actually lonely.
Yeah.
But there was nothing really we could do also because the
Yeah.
pandemic really
Yeah.
stopped us from seeing each other.
Yeah.
I think I've been locked in the house for like 3 years straight. I only
Oh, me
got
too,
out
me
the
too.
house when I needed to take the vaccine.
Yo,
That was the
me
only time.
also. Like, that's the first time I also went to the mall again after the pandemic for the vaccine, bruh.
Yeah, same. Like, it was my first time going out, and like everything changes now. I didn't
Feels so
realize it.
different.
Yeah, and then I didn't realize I have to like go to the front and ask for like, where is the vaccination booth and where do I?
You don't know how to ask for that?
I was not sure of how to say like how to
Yeah.
ask, especially like someone there is like professional, and then they have like
Yeah, I get
IDs and stuff.
I get nervous also in those situations.
Yeah, so I think it's very important to like be social. I think
Yeah.
now I'm more of a social person since I love connecting
Me
with
too.
people. You always
And you have
do.
no choice anyway because you have group projects.
Yeah. So you're saying you feel forced to
No,
do
no,
this right now?
no. Like say you're in group projects, right? And so nobody's really talking. Sometimes you just have to step up and be the leader. You know
That was
what I
me
mean?
last night. I'm sorry. But yeah, and also like social isolation, like the impact on it on mental health could be really heavy then. Especially like it could be like a negative loop then on us. Like it could just make you like avoid the problem more and more, making you like lose your mind.
Yeah,
But like-
it's like a serious issue. Like we just don't realize it, but then it's like very common now,
Mhm.
especially like after the pandemic. It became a lot more digital. So like,
Yeah.
How do you think people coped with it though, like with social isolation? Because like at one point we didn't realize that we are like lonely, pero like we eventually tried to do something about it. But like how? And because there's also like good and bad coping
Yeah.
strategies.
Like what I said kanina, people tend to like withdraw themselves from the social world talaga, like to be like socially isolated na talaga. Like kahit individually they don't know themselves, but then like they try to tend like to get away from the problems or from the worst case scenario that they're overthinking of. But something good, a good coping mechanism would be trying to get out of your comfort zone. I
Try
think
new things.
yeah, because I think people would also like have that mindset now. Oh, they know that they're growing up na, and they need to also like they also need people.
when
in
you
their
try new
world.
things, also you will get to know people
Yeah.
like that are also interested in that. So I think that's also one way to start Having friends. I mean connecting with people.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's how I connect with people. That's why I have a lot of friends.
Wow, social butterflies and all.
But actually, you don't really have to be that social of a person to be
Yeah.
like not be socially isolated. You could just take step by step. You could still be low key and mysterious even if you're like you could still be nonchalant. You don't have to be nonchalant to be social. And
But
I
like
think
how,
that's a good thing.
okay, from an outside perspective, like if you see someone that is lonely but is actually outgoing, how do you like identify someone like, oh, she's lonely in the classroom, but what if she's actually super outgoing in like other places, like say in her church or in places of her hobbies?
I wouldn't really judge anyone if they're alone, because like I would also be like that.
Yeah.
I would also be in my own pace, like minding my own business, not caring about what people would think of me. Like if now, but if you said before, like during the pandemic, I would think that people are judging me through their lens on how I was, being alone. But then, yeah, it doesn't really matter to me. I don't really judge if they're alone, because I think everybody has their own like space. Then they prefer to have their own time and their own pace. Then.
There are really some people that are like that. I'm not, but then like
Do you have time for
noticed-
yourself?
yeah, I do. I notice there are some people that are like, I know them as like a very lively person, but then I see them like one time just alone, and then I realize, oh, I think he or she just wants like, of course everyone needs their alone time also, like
They need to recharge.
yeah, recharge their energy.
Like maybe their social battery died down.
And then in a while, they're gonna meet people again and then show their true self.
What's their true self? But yeah, like social isolation is not really about like the feelings now or like the connection. Because like sometimes, is it actually like affect your brain then?
Yeah,
Like chronically? If you guys.
chronically.
Yeah, chronically, like in your brain, bruh. Like, it could lead to like severe conditions, like what I said. Alzheimer's, oh my gosh.
No, that's why there's a mental health hospital.
Yeah, no, it's called the
But,
mental
like-
asylum.
Oh.
But like people don't really like, they gaslight themselves, not thinking they're okay, but then they're
But
not.
it's very severe already.
Yeah. It would be like,
It's very self-deprecating.
yeah, if someone sees it, like you're a family member, and then they know that this person, like your sister or something, is like lost in the world, in the world, in the social world, and they were like suggest like, are you feeling okay or whatsoever? Like, they try to help you out, seek help for you, but then you'd like be gaslighting yourself and thinking like you're okay and you're not, which is basically like avoiding the problem and the cause of it.
Yeah, if ever like someone listening right now is like going through social isolation, I think you should be more open and then accept those like help from other people, because
Not me, bro.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Like you should like try to accept like those little like, are you okay questions, and maybe you should open up a little bit, but
Yeah.
not everything, or not all at once. Very bad.
Yeah, you can still be mysterious about yourself.
But like in general, I feel like the best way in general, like to slowly get out of social isolation, is to start small. Like as small as like saying hi to a cashier or saying good morning. That's very nice.
I say
Yes.
good morning to our guard lobby guys.
Me too.
Our lobby girls. They're always nice.
I say good morning to like the people around, because I read like from somewhere that you don't know what they're going through, so like you should greet them, and then your greeting could actually make their day also. So.
Bro, I saw Brother Richie 2 times yesterday. Brother Richie. And then
I
he was
see him
like,
a lot.
He always greets people
Yeah.
like on his way. And it's like, good morning, good afternoon. Yeah. I met him 2 times yesterday and I was like, good morning.
I see him all the time in like Katt.
Yeah, he's
And
always smiling.
he always greets everyone.
Yeah, and some other students like, hey, Brother Richie.
Yeah.
Like that. And I find it like, wow. And I feel like it's nice though, because they have a smile on their face. And they're always so happy about it. But I definitely think that at least like one person or each individual could like have experienced social isolation as part of their growing up. At least konti in our timeline, but some of them could like experience more severe cases. Some could just be like a subtle one that they don't really
Or you don't
notice.
even realize
Yeah.
that it happened to you.
But in reality, it's like important to stay connected? Because like, what if you're in an interview and then you don't know how to answer it?
I mean, yeah, actually, that's true.
Okay.
But like, for me, like when you talk to people, right? I kind of like struggle to like kind of meaningful conversations with people
Yeah.
because like most of the people like you talk to are kind of reserved and don't really like to open up too much about like the little things. So like it's kind of hard, or maybe they're actually just suffering from social isolation.
So I think that's it for now. In the next episode, we will be going into more details about how to cope with social isolation.
Thank you all for listening. Until then, take care of yourself and remember, even in your quietest corners, you're not alone.
See you in the
on
next episode.